Hello and welcome to a new series of videos on the Blood and Pigment channel. Part of what makes Blood and Plunder so fun is all the commanders and characters that are built into the game. All these outrageous people that we get to represent in our gameplay. So we want to take some time and focus on some of the legendary commanders available in the game. And what better place to start than with Henry Morgan. We're going to look at him, his stats, kind of how he plays, and his factions available to him, and a little bit about his life. Who was Henry Morgan?
Henry Morgan started out as a Welsh privateer from Jamaica. He had some service before that in the English Civil War, but he was a Welsh privateer for the beginning of his career that gained a letter of marque, and he palled around a lot with the people that were the Brethren of the Coast.
He is most well known for his attack and sacking of Panama and following in Sir Francis Drake's footsteps, and it made him a very, very wealthy and well-known man.
He got in pretty big trouble, international trouble, doing that because England and Spain were really at war at that point. But he was kind of acting on his own initiative, not under England's orders. But he got in trouble anyway, and he got pulled back to England to stand trial. But he got knighted instead, and then sent back to Jamaica as the governor, where he lived happily ever after until he died, and his grave got destroyed in the earthquake and tsunami. Right?
Why'd you gotta remind me?
No grave to visit. And I find it very entertaining that he did so much while he was so young. I think he was younger than me when he led a force across Panama and took Panama. It's quite intimidating. In his 30s.
It's amazing what he did in his life. He was larger than life at the time, and because not only did he attack Panama, but he had several other successful raids on Spanish settlements. He attacked Puerto Principal and Portobello, Maracaibo and Gibraltar, and then even after the attack on Panama, he had his militia that he was training on in Jamaica, and just became a political person at that time. It was a lot of fun, like reading about him. I suggest reading books on him that you can get, or any sort of bibliography. He's one of the easiest pirates to read up on, because he had a famous book that was written about him that was kind of slanderous at the time, that he actually sued the author of.
Well, let's be honest here. Most people are going to know his name because of the famous rum that he is pictured on.
Right. I love it how they used that pose for the alternate art or alternate sculpt from the first Kickstarter for him with a foot on the Spanish helmet. It's great.
As they should. He's got a little more than a little captain in him.
So how does Henry Morgan stack up in the game? He is tied for the honor of being the most expensive commander in the game at 42 points. He also has a massive command range of 20 inches, which will cover most of almost any board, and he has the powerful 3 command points.
He comes equipped with your standard Buccaneer fare of brace of pistols and standard melee weapon. He has the broadside special rule, the God's Blessing or Devil's Luck, which means that when he leads a force, he starts the game with 4 fortune points. He's got the Lucky special rule, where anytime this commander's force uses a fortune point for a reroll, the fortune point is not spent if the result of the reroll is not better than the original roll. He's got Very Inspiring, a rule that we love very much so on this channel, where all friendly units within his command range may reroll failed rally results. And then he's got my least favorite rule, Misfortune at Sea. A force that this model is commanding may not spend fortune points to reroll failed checks to run aground, attempt repairs, or change sail settings or perform advanced maneuvers. I don't like that rule.
He did run aground a lot, hit a lot of shoals. Kindred spirit with me, I guess.
I would say, you related to Captain Morgan?
Captain Morgan can lead 4 different factions, which is tied for the most factions a commander can lead. He can lead the English Caribbean militia. That represents his time as a militia commander in Jamaica. He can lead the English Buccaneers, or his earlier life. He can lead Morgan's Buccaneers, which is his private faction that would represent his attacks on the Spanish settlements like Panama. And he can also lead the English pirate hunters for the pirate hunting he did later in his life.
And don't forget the Brethren of the Coast. That's a 5th
Oh,
faction.
yes. And Brethren of the Coast.
5 factions.
5 factions. An interesting thing with Brethren of the Coast is with all the other commanders that you have in there, Henry Morgan is still one of the better commanders to have on land.
That's true. You can't hit a shoal on land.
Yeah, he's kind of the Pirate of the Caribbean, at least in this era.
So let's look at his special rules and command options and kind of compare him to some of the other big commanders in the game, and then look at maybe his how he plays in those various factions.
Well, to start with, the thing that's going to jump out at you the most, that you should understand that you're paying most of these 42 points for, is that he has the great combination of God's blessing or devil's luck and lucky.
Yeah, that's a lot of fortune right there.
Yeah.
And you can just use it with abandon. If you don't like your roll, roll again. If you roll the same, no harm done. If you roll better, that's what you wanted.
And the very inspiring with the 20-inch command range too means that everybody is re-rolling rally tests, even without using a fortune.
Right, you put them in the middle of your force. You have a 40-inch reach. That's on a 3x4 table. You have 4 inches on either side of the edge of the board that isn't reached by that. That's pretty much your whole force. It's crazy.
And while he has a Misfortunate Sea special rule, he also has Broadside, so if you stick him on the 6 rate and stick him in the middle, he can make all 4 decks fire in a devastating Broadside, because he just has the reach and the command points to do it.
Yeah, I haven't done that yet. I put him on a light frigate several times, but not on my 6 rate.
Yeah, you need that 3 command points on all the. I know the Galleon also has a size 4, so for the Galleon, the 6 rate, you need to have 3 command points to really get make all the decks fire at once, and it is devastating.
Yep.
Especially if you're evil like me and you packed Grape Shot.
Although we are deriding Misfortune at Sea a lot, it's not a deal breaker for running Henry Morgan at sea. You do get a lot of fortune that you can use on things that are not repair checks, running aground, changing sail setting, or advanced maneuvers. And as long as you bring a carpenter and don't try to tack,
tacking is the scary thing with Morgan.
Yeah,
I was going to mention that.
Tacking is scary even without Morgan there, but not being able to re-roll that tacking chance, it means just don't tack with Morgan. And repairs, not being able to re-roll repairs does hurt, but it also kind of forces you to play differently. I don't know how many repair checks I've re-rolled where the re-roll was still failed anyways. So it kind of makes it so you don't use it on those, and instead you just have more units repairing.
Yeah. Yeah, like you said, it's not a deal breaker. I've used him at sea. I think my first few games, I used him as English Buccaneers, and I put him on a sloop, and he did really well. Those 3 command points go a long way, and that massive range and inspiring, I was very surprised with how well it worked.
Yeah, I like the design. He's a very aggressive but not safe commander. Can't use all those fortune for all those necessary and safety things, but he has lucky and lots of fortune to use on aggression.
Cannon shots and musket shots.
Really well.
Yeah.
I think where he differs from someone like, I know we keep drawing the comparison to Piet Hayen, where I look at Piet Hayen as more of a warrior general, because he seemed like tailor-made to go over the side, start chopping heads. He is definitely more the kind of tactical strategist, where you kind of keep him in the middle and guarded and have him tell people to do stuff.
Yeah, he doesn't have any personal abilities that makes his unit necessarily stronger than anything else.
Yeah.
Piet Hayen really does.
He's more the very classic, he's up on the hill with the spyglass saying, hey, do this, do that. Whereas Piet Hein is more the natural kind of warrior, which, again, it's a different play style. And I think that Henry Morgan is fantastic.
It's a big brain. And that leads into his faction. Can we talk about his personal faction a little bit?
Yes.
Yeah, please.
His personal faction is super fun. I've had really good times with it. Some of the rules, so like the Panama Invasion Force, you can drop fast reload and get drilled instead. But the fun part about this faction is this third ability in the book here. Once per turn, this force's controller may replace a revealed activation card with another card from their hand. This card replaces the original and determines initiative and actions for that activation. So you can play a card and then flip it up, and then if you don't like it, you can switch it out.
And you
It's
can bluff.
incredible. Yeah, you
Yeah.
can bluff. You can play your highest card, hope it's good, and if you play a 6 of spades, they play something higher, you're going to lose anyway, so you can just swap it out for a club and have a better activation, even because you're going to go second anyway, or you can play your heart, hoping you can get that really good reload on your cannons and shoot, and then if he plays a spade, you can just swap it out for your spade and fire first. The people I play against when I play this say, you're playing on cheat mode. This is unfair.
It really does. It looks like cheating every time.
It is cheating. It's awesome.
Pirate.
Yeah. He also, because it's a Buccaneer faction, his own private one gets the Buccaneer ability of discarding your hand for a new hand.
Which is kind of another faction, another fortune. So that's like a 5th fortune point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's really good. His the unit selection in his private force is also pretty good. It's
The weird part about that unit selection, he doesn't have any sailors as core, so he's not really good at sea with his own force.
No. Yeah.
Or not cannons, at least.
That's why I like to think that the Morgan's Buccaneers is from his land invasions and raids, where where if you want him to command at sea, it's Brethren of the Coast or English Buccaneers. But if you want him to be in a commander amongst a thicket of muskets, that's going to be Morgan's Buccaneers a lot of the time.
Yeah,
you might be able to take them at sea and just do like the mid-range musket list that you can do. Yep. I mean, it's not ideal, but it can. I'm looking at the unit list here. It can be done. You got the units.
If you don't want to do cannons, you're fine.
Yeah.
No. But Forlorn Hope as a core unit, that's really good too.
It's rare.
Yeah.
Yeah. Getting English militia. English militia are terrible, but with so many command points and such an expensive commander, you can kind of lean on them a little bit with a Henry Morgan list because he's going to be activating everybody all the time.
And that very inspiring will keep that militia right where they need to be.
5 resolve, yeah, they'll only need to rally a couple times a game.
Yeah.
Yeah, really good force. Really enjoyable. The unit
veteran freebooters is core too. Yeah,
well, 8 points. Ooh, with a 42-point commander, you have a pretty small force if you take too many. And that's the thing about this force, is a lot of expensive units. So it's kind of a small force, but it can be a lot of fun.
If you want to play a lot of units, then you have the Brethren of the Coast or English Buccaneers or English Pirate Hunters at sea, at least. So let's go into English Buccaneers and look at that. We've talked about extensively this faction before, but just a refresher, they get a +2 to determine the attacker, and they also get to discard all the cards in your hand for a new hand.
Similar core units. Freebooters, Forlorn Hope, Capers, veteran freebooters, but they have Sea Dog, so you can do more of a cannon list with this force. Better naval force, really.
Yeah.
Standard English goodness.
Those veteran freebooters and Forlorn Hope core. That's a great unit to stick with Henry Morgan, is especially the veteran freebooters. If you have that unit and then a bunch of cannon guys, that way it will be especially hard to kill Henry Morgan. And veteran freebooters love being fed command points. They really do.
On a spade, you can get like 4 actions out of them.
Same thing, and Forlorn Hope are notably deadly. They have that brace of pistols, they have their musket, they have explosives. So putting that with Henry Morgan as well, it's nice. It seems kind of counterintuitive to put him with a expensive unit, but the unit that he's with is always going to get one of those command points usually, like almost 100% of the time. And you might as well put him with your expensive unit anyways, rather than cannon crew that's going to get shot up anyway. Going to be like a high value target.
Yeah.
So in the other one, Brethren of the Coast, which we did, he's a lot of fun here. It's a lot like English Buccaneers, only you get access to more Dutch and French guys.
More toys.
Yeah.
But no Forlorn Hope as core, so that's the main difference,
No.
really.
Yeah.
More
So you don't get the free explosives.
Yeah. And the Pirate Hunter list is quite a bit different.
Yeah, I really like him with Pirate Hunters. All training veteran units gain the Hard Charger special rule, which makes Sea Dogs better in melee because they'll have Hard Chargers and, that Brawlers rule. +2 to determine the attacker. That's kind of basic. But the main thing is you get Enter Plogue as a support unit, and you get to give them Hard Chargers.
That's always nice, yeah.
Yeah.
That just spells certain death for whatever they're charging.
I kind of like him with the English Pirate Hunters because their core units are all cheap, and Morgan is not, which balances it out a little bit. It's kind of hard to do a full force of 6-point models when you have a 42-point commander.
And you want to play a lot of units with Henry Morgan as well, because that way you take advantage of those 3 command points. You can decide where you want to put it. You have you're going to start with 4 fortune with lucky, so you can make a lot more of those hits count.
Yep. Yeah, you can do a 1 unit 100-point list with Henry Morgan if you do 9 freebooters or 8 freebooters and Morgan. Don't do that. Don't do that. Waste all your command points. But English Pirate Hunters work pretty well.
I think he really shines because you can load up a ship with a bunch of Sea Dogs, have English Militia just, as your token musket unit to get shot, or just, they'll stay put, and then use the Sea Dogs to charge. And again, that Enter Plogue with Hard Chargers, that makes for a really mean boarding list. People might not want to play with you much if you keep running this. And even the Militia, if you make them train, they gain it too, so they go from a 6 to a 5 on the charge.
Not bad for a militia unit.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Yeah, if you want to run them on land as Henry Morgan does make them a threat with a bunch of English militia units, or on a ship, you can do a nice boarding list that way.
Yeah, the English Pirate Hunters on land isn't actually a bad option with Morgan.
Nope.
Yeah, you could literally just spam militia. Sorry, I was looking at all the units that got the militia pikeman. He's got everything. He's got all the toys you need.
Yeah, I heard a story about one of the early tournaments for the game. Somebody took Morgan with 19 militia and just had Morgan sit back with a tiny unit and just keep all those other units firing and rallying when they needed to, and was able to win some games. 100 points with Morgan.
Dang. Dang.
That's pretty ballsy, just like Morgan should be.
Yeah. So that does touch on the last faction that he gets to control, which is the English Caribbean militia, which is really just going to be freebooters, militia, and maybe some cavalry. You have veteran freebooters, pikemen, artillery crew, African warriors, Sea Dogs, and musketeers as support units. You'd really, with 42 points, you're going to want to use, if you use this faction, the English militia, and then maybe a command unit of freebooters, or, like you said, a command unit of English militia, just hidden in the back, so they're not as high value of a target.
Yeah. The Jamaican militia it makes the Caribbean militia fun. The force option makes the musketeers and Sea Dogs core, so you can, if they have muskets, you can do a bit more saline list, or just have a better militia unit. Basically, Sea Dogs with muskets are better than the English militia. I like that force.
Henry Morgan loves being with Sea Dogs too.
Yeah, musketeers as core units for the Jamaican militia, that's not bad either.
Yeah, he can be in a unit with 4 resolve. That's pretty good.
I mean,
Oh, yeah.
if you're taking Henry Morgan, chances are you're going to play a bigger game, so you'll have more points to spend on the more expensive units, generally speaking.
Yeah, but you lose 42 points right off the bat. But 200 and up, I think he's a pretty good option.
Yeah,
Lots of fun.
that's about my threshold for him is 200 points.
Yeah. So we've been touching on why Captain Morgan is fun to play. His power level, he's pretty powerful, in my opinion, but as a 42-point commander, he is a high-value target for your opponent, and your opponent, if they have a chance, are going to try taking him out every chance they have.
Yeah, that's the thing in this game. You got to be careful of your commander when you bring a big guy like this, because you can focus fire on one unit and just wear it down, kill him. So you got to be careful. Find that especially true at sea. You can just target that deck over and over and over again.
Yeah, and unless he's in a unit that has a 6 shoot save, you're going to take a lot of casualties no matter what you do.
Unless you lay down, but that doesn't seem very Morgan-y to me.
No.
Because if you lay down, you can't give command points, can you? Because the only action you can take is to stand.
You can rally, and you can give command points lying down.
I think so.
You're
I did.
giving command actions is it's the equivalent in this game is shouting to do stuff. So, and that's why Morgan has a really he was known to have a booming voice. So that's why he has that 20-inch command range. That's his power of his charisma and his voice. So you can still issue commands while you're laying down, but all you can do as the unit itself is rally and stand up. I don't like lying down as much at sea because if you are boarded, which it's kind of easy in a sea game to get boarded unexpectedly. Ships can move up to 15 inches a turn, and even more about 18 to 20 inches if you are turning constantly. So if you activate him at the wrong time and he's lying down, and somehow because you're moving close, your opponent gets within boarding range, they get to just kill the unit. So lying
Don't
down.
let your 42-point commander get killed laying down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ever, please.
Now I want to touch on something that I've seen a lot of players do that I wholly support. Is he's a 42-point commander, but there is really nothing in the game that says that if you really like his sculpt, you just want to use him as a 15-point English commander. That's completely fine, I think. You want to tell your opponent, hey, this isn't Captain Morgan. I just like the sculpt of this model, so he's just going to be my 15-point commander. But even then, Henry Morgan had a storied career as a privateer before he invaded Panama. So you can say, well, I'm using the Captain Morgan model because this is the
Young
younger
Morgan.
version of him. Yeah, young Morgan. This is the 0-point version of Morgan when he was a young strapping lad. So it's fun to do that. It's fun to use the models that that inspire you.
So, quick comparison to the other legendary models and the other 30 and 40-point models. How would you rate his power and fun level compared to things like guys like DeGraff and Piet Hein?
So I feel that definitely Lorho and Piet, they are definitely more, like I said before, they're that more like warrior commander where they kind of want to be up front. They kind of want to be where all the action is. I mean, DeGraff, and I'm sure we'll cover him at a later date. He's got swordsman, which is good in melee because he was a swordsman. He's got the basic accoutrement, but I would say if you're looking for someone to kind of stay back and bark orders, Morgan really, really exceeds in that role. If you're looking for a commander that you want to, put you with your best boarding unit and hop over, you probably want to go with Piet Hein. I would say as far as fun goes, I would say it's a draw between all of them because they all play a little differently. Morgan seems to be more like the mustache twirling tactician in the back, and that's really fun to play.
So what would you rate him?
I would rate him, if I had to rate him down, I would put him in between Lorho and Piet. Piet, I am a bias for. I love playing Piet. I love watching my commander make mincemeat of other units. But if I was ever to play more defensively with, like, again, that kind of hide my commander back and have him bark orders, I would go with Morgan. And I just have more experience with Morgan than I do de Graaf.
Yeah, that's what I love about Morgan. He just does outrageous things. He just keeps defying expectations. He gets to keep re-rolling until he gets what he wants. He gets to activate when he wants from that card flipping. He's just frustrating to the opponent, and I really enjoy watching my opponent lose their marbles.
He is a lot of fun. I would have to rate him highly as well, with him having Lucky and Devil's Blessing or God's Will. That's a great combination. Tossing that around, the 20-inch command range means that he can command a fleet even without having Commodore, which helps. Very inspiring. I've used him only a handful of times, but every time I did, it was a lot of fun. And he's a 42-point commander, and it shows when you play. I also really liked painting the model too.
It's a great sculpt.
Yeah, it's a great sculpt. It's I painted the one where he has the hat on his side and he's holding the sword. That's it's fun that he's like leaning back in the middle of a laugh, it seems.
Before we finish, I have a funny story about this model. I had some random person contact me. They found the picture I have on the blog of my painted sculpt of him, and he wanted to buy it. He was a plant fluencer, an influencer, online person with focused on plants. So they had a big Instagram, Twitter account. They wanted to make a terrarium inside a rum bottle and put the model in the rum bottle as part of the little scene. I really didn't want to sell it, so I said, you can have it for $100. But he wasn't sure if he could get it in the bottle, and he wasn't sure if the moisture in the bottle would ruin the paint job, so he backed out, which I was happy about, because I didn't want to lose my alternate sculpt with the Spanish helmet on. But that was an entertaining episode.
Remember you talking about that. That was pretty funny, yeah.
Plant influencer.
Hopefully he just bought another model by himself and painted it up and just put a matte coating on it or something. I like that idea, but I wouldn't put that model on it.
Yeah, a lot of risks there. Anyway, yeah. I love the guy, and he's a lot of fun to play in the game, and definitely worth picking up, even if you're just starting with playing Pirates or English and Blood and Plunder. You can open up a lot of fun possibilities, but remember that he is better for bigger games, or if you agree with your opponent to play big commanders, even a 100-point game. You could play de Graaf French against Morgan English and have a good time.
Yeah, that's we'll have to detail that game type at a later time. We just get to bring free legendary or historic commanders. But I think that about wraps it up.
For more articles on all things Blood and Plunder, head over to bloodandpigment.com, and we have articles on ships, nations, factions, terrain building, painting guides, battle reports, and previews of upcoming products. Go check it out there.
Check out the rest of our YouTube channel as well. We'll be aiming to put out a video every Monday. Subscribe and ring the ship's bell so you can stay notified of our uploads.
As always, keep your dice at the ready and the wind at your back, yar har.